All right. Welcome, ghouls, demons, and fellow weird ones. And we are at part 8 of the tale behind the weird tale. And we are going to lean into my second anthology, Age of the Dragon. So here we go. All right. So I talked about my first anthology, and that weird tale, the dawning decennium. And then I was on this, this high of things, and I wrote some of the stories, and I'm publishing some books. And now, so now we're at March, we're at, the astrological new year. And that's when I published this one. So I had all these poems from the year 2024 that I hadn't posted on my website yet, because of where I was like headed. So I started, you know, with, or maybe I did have some on my website. I was trying to find a sequence and a flow of how I was going to release all of these fucking projects. And I was like, I need a cycle. I need a routine. I need a calendar. I need a plan, which I'm definitely not the best planner. In like I am and I'm not. It takes a lot for me to get into the routine. And then God forbid if the routine changes. I'm an Aquarius, right? Fixed sign, fixed air sign. Talk about fucking chaos. So I wanted some type of structure because I need a fixed something, but then you have to adapt to change. You got to pivot. And I just remember stressing out so badly because I really wanted to just release things when I felt right about it. But there was this need as an artist to create space and delay my insights to the public. Like I needed the security to to create, to process, to design, and then to release. Like, which I can understand. If I'm a Cancer rising and like Saturn and Moon ruled, but a lot of Moon energy within my being, you have to wax and wane. So there is a whole process to it. But I also just felt like if I when I posted in real time, because I was immediate. Oh, I created it. Here you go. Well, then there became this instant gratification from like the audience, and that was a lot of pressure to try to keep up with. I'm like, I don't want to. It's not that I can't do something new every day. I don't want to. I want time to do nothing. Like, I was like, I have like 5 fucking books, 6 books. Like, what? 7 books? What? Like, that needs traction before I can keep creating more. But everyone's like, well, what's next? What's next? I just felt this pressure. Like, what's next? Do more, do more. And very chaotic energy. But so I'm trying to find like a release schedule. And I was like, oh, well, on the new moon, I'll release, so if it's the new moon, in October, I'll release September's poems the new moon of October. And so it was like a month delayed. And then that just didn't seem like enough. And it just kept I kept spacing it out. To where now, which started with the Age of the Dragon, is I will release the astrological new year. I will release a year's worth of poetry and anthology in association with the Chinese zodiac. Because I don't know, I was really diving into Chinese astrology. Something about the Age of the Dragon. Well, I was connecting to dragon energy and symbolism for a variety of reasons. I just got in a set of dragon runes. Her name's Cave Bear Woman. Someone that Rebecca introduced me to. Someone who's probably not now because she's like a Rebecca loyalist. I don't fucking know, actually. I don't want to say that and not know all the details. I know she was Rebecca's friend that I connected to. We were part of the magazine together. And all kinds of things. But I got the dragon runes, and like there was just some deep dragon energy that I was feeling deeply connected to, which also connects to Kalima, also connects to Hecate, and a lot of other symbolism that has been happening in my life. And so it was just really interesting to me. So I got the dragon runes, and then it's the year of the dragon. And for one of the first, like not the first time in my life, but like a very serious moment in my life, I'm like, I'm taking Chinese astrology very seriously. It was like an initiation of sorts. Because I was like, oh, the year of the dragon. I started studying that. I'm still not fairly proficient in Chinese astrology, and that is something I'm continuing to work on. But I felt it significant to honor that calling and that initiation by titling my next anthology. So I was like, okay, well, I'm going to release a yearly anthology because, like, I mean, I write anywhere from 5 to 20 poems a month. And that's why I was trying to release it monthly to keep up with it because that was a lot. And I was like, well, that's a lot to keep up with on top of everything else I'm doing too much. Again, doing too much all the fucking time. And so it was just, I think really it's shown in the Age of Dragon. It's a chaotic energy. I think you can kind of see so many different themes that I'm juggling. I feel like it's a really chaotic anthology. And all of the I don't what the fuck, what themes that are running through it. It felt like because my poetry, my writing, it's associated with the moon, and Chinese zodiac is like it's the Lunar New Year. There's a lot of moon energy that comes from it, and so I felt a calling to connect with that more than just the tropical astrology. I've really struggled to connect to Vedic or sidereal true sky astrology, like whatever. I've struggled with that for a variety of reasons, and I've kind of theorized on it. I really like tropical astrology. Talk about it quite a bit. And then I've been really diving into Chinese astrology, which I only speak on certain levels of it because I know I'm not as proficient. But titling right at this moment in time, I'm going to continue to evolve and grow and become incredibly efficient at it, just like I do with everything. So just because I'm not overly proficient at it now doesn't mean that what I'm learning isn't important or significant or insightful, and doesn't mean it's not going to be a foundation or a seed that plants into something later. And I like to verify that with people because people like to judge me based off of me being honest about where I'm at. And that's just a purge. That's an insight, which is also mirrored, I believe, in Age of Dragon. Like there was a lot of anger and chaos. Like it was an intense fucking energy for a variety of reasons. And I think that it's depicted in the poetry that came through. It's the dawning decennium feels more sad, more melancholic. This feels more intense, more aggressive. There's a lot more anger and feminine rage that comes out from the dragon. So like Tiamat was significant, and there's correlation to Kali Ma and Tiamat and like other like primordial mother goddesses. And so there is, which also would be my Cancer Lilith, which was water dragon. I'm going through my Pisces Saturn return. This is one of the first the dawning decennium, so 20 through 2023. What animal was it? Whatever. Anyway, so 2024. So this is like I just gone through a year of my Pisces Saturn return, all the water symbolism, all the Pisces symbolism, like Leviathan, crossing the abyss, like more clipothic energy, all of this stuff. Like there's so much that I don't know if I'm like highlighting all of it well enough or really expressing it. But it was also where I really came into like an aesthetic of myself, for what you can see here. My new business cards like relate to that. I feel like I was going from a organized, logical, minimalist, masculine expression of myself to a deeply chaotic and free and wild, creative, artistic, feminine approach to myself. And so this is like a lot of feminine rage, a lot of personal rage, not just feminine rage, but I do feel like there's more feminine rage is embedded within it. I think women would relate to it a lot more. It doesn't mean men can't. In fact, more men have bought my books than women. I find that interesting. Just a side note. Part of my feminine rage is in like my mother wound and my sisterhood wound, and just this like weirdness of like women being unnecessarily pitted against each other and competing against each other. And I know a lot of that's due to the patriarchy and men and blah, 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 blah. Like it's a really complex situation. At this time, at releasing this, I had also been kind of fed up with the women who had betrayed me. at this point, through like just weird jealousy. But this, as the consecration states, I dedicated this anthology to my inner child, and I'm going to read the consecration here. I would like to dedicate this collection to my younger inner child self, my past self, and the self who envisioned that this day would come. I would like to express gratitude to the versions of myself who never gave up on my dreams and insisted on believing in myself, even when it seemed as if the world was against me. I encourage all who read this collection to remember to have eternal faith within themselves and relentlessly protect their dreams, as if their life depends on it, for it most certainly does. Because I mean, I've been deeply suicidal, and it was kind of like at this point, at the conclusion of release of the after my year of the dragon and concluding these poems, there was a fight within me that was like, I'm doing this and I'm living this life, or like I can't live another life. This is the life that I'm living. This is my choice. This is my will. And I would rather die than not like live this life. Like I will die for my freedom. Essentially, I will die for my right to live a life that I desire, which I find deeply significant. And more left hand path symbolism or understanding of the dragon, energy within that. And then it goes into just releasing paradigms and constructs, and again, more anger, more difficulty with people honoring this transition and transformation in my life. It's where a lot of my family trauma came to a head. I realized who was actually on my side, who actually loved me, who actually supported me. Is very aware of conditional and unconditional love and transactional relationships. Like I said, a lot of turmoil, a lot of chaos that was present. A lot of poverty mindsets, a lot of questioning God and spirituality, kind of nihilistic. There's a lot of nihilistic themes in the things because I don't want to be nihilistic. I would like to be more absurdism, more of an absurdist. I would like to be more optimistic and hopeful, but with a Sagittarius Pluto, I feel like there is like a depth of optimism. But I think that's the trick. In a sense, that's the trickster energy that can be attached to Pluto. And then like there's also it comes into a lot of like self-love, I feel like at the end. And that I think was really cool. Like I end it with the witch, but there's a love and acceptance for myself while also still having an anger towards people who are refusing to love me for the truth of my being. And I feel like that was a big part of what the Age of Dragon did. Is more shedding, more preparation. It was more, I guess, a flame, more burning, phoenix energy, while drowning. Is very interesting. Like just delusions, shedding. Like there's, oh, I don't know. I felt like every fucking element that could possibly happen hit me this fucking year, to be honest. So yeah, this was the year of 2024, and everything that went into it. I'm trying to think of what would be there. Oh, there's some appreciation for like my art in here. I was trying to think of what would be a good poem to read. That would be bear with me. So sorry. All right, let's see. Actually, you know what? Let's go there. Well, maybe. How long is it? I'm probably gonna fuck that word up. I want to read this, but sorry, I know myself enough and my struggle with pronunciation. And it usually is because my brain is moving a lot faster than my tongue and mouth can keep up. So I don't want to fuck it up, but because I don't rehearse any of this, I should probably rehearse it. I'm not a big fan of that. I really like first drafts. I really like raw vulnerability and just winging it. And a lot of my poems, a lot of my work is there's very minimal editing, and like I've mentioned this in my lunar memoirs. My lunar memoirs, I don't edit at all. Whatever I fucking write in that moment, and it is what it is. And I said what I said, and there's typo because for whatever reason, I want it to be raw in that way. Very present moment, and so I try to keep a lot of things the same. I do adjust my poems, especially when I put them in the book. You know, I tweak a few words. I want a little more rhythm. There's that extra detail that goes into it, but it doesn't. But I put so much detail into the present moment that it almost doesn't need it. And sometimes I feel like people, I have a habit, and I feel I've seen this in other people's work, but you over edit it, you over perfect it, and it's like, I actually really liked the original version better than this, like, perfectly manicured expression of it. That's societally acceptable. So that is how I handle all of my fucking YouTube and social media. It has bitten the fuck out of me in the ass before, but we keep doing it anyway. So I'm gonna read this one. It's calling out to me, and I think it highlights um this anthology, and it derives from a not so fun, not so beautiful moment in my marriage with my husband, where we were deeply mirroring each other. He's Gospel of Hate on Instagram. That's his name, and he's huge black metal fan, and it's all about left hand path and hate and chaos and all of this wrath. Right? I call him Asmodeus for a reason. He's Pan for a reason, the God Pan. For a reason, like there's all these symbolisms behind him for a reason. And so at this moment in time, I am very much presently expressing my wrath, my hate, all my deep dark shadow element. Like my shadow side really came to a surface in 2024. Rightfully so with the Age of Dragon, right? But my husband told me that I was the most hateful thing he'd ever seen. And that inspired this piece. It shocked the shit out of me. I was like, oh, Gospel of Hate. Not even Gospel of Hate can handle my hate. Not even the God of Wrath can handle my rage. And I was empowering and humbling and a lot of confusing emotions all at the same time. Because I was like, man, if this person thinks that I have a problem, if the God of Wrath, the demon of wrath, is telling me that I'm hateful, like, and he's had enough of me, like, I probably have a real fucking problem. Like, I really need to work on myself. Even more so than I already am. But it was also, I think, a part of me that I was denying because I didn't want to be. I didn't want to be hateful. I love being loved and bubbly, but I think people are really surprised by how dark and angry and hateful and shadowy I am and can be. And this was a huge epiphany of that for me. So let's read. Let's see how I do. The most hateful thing you've ever seen. You said I was the most hateful thing you've ever seen. I recognize this moment in which you realize my purest nature, my horrific truth. I detest everything that I see. A child of wrath, a daughter of war. I loathe this dysfunctional place, the land of lack, misaligned law and order. My heart aches for the ruins of my once glorious kingdom. I despise it all aside from you. Despite my greatest efforts to remain alone, I must accept the weakness you cast onto me. Despite my greatest efforts, I cannot judge in hatred and must accept my defeat. I can only surrender to thee. I can only admire thee. For the rest of me is filled with hate. You are my only you're my only buoy of love in this abyss. And that was the kind of cheesy moment, but also what I thought was gonna fuck up buoy. Because it's kind of an awkward word. I probably could have picked a better word, but I really wanted the water symbolism of, cross against in the abyss. This is the only life flotation device that I have. Without my husband, I would have drowned. I'd be homeless. There's so many awful things that most likely would have happened to me. That man has kept me safe and secure, and he's my rock. He's so stable. He is the earth beneath my water. Like every oceanic pool has a floor as of earth. All right. And that is Chad to me. That's my Capricorn. But it's also within myself. And that again, that mirroring that we have within one another. So I transmuted that into, yes, I'm a hateful being, but I love you. And that also, this poem reflecting that to my husband was insightful for him too, because he is a hateful being, but he loves me. And our love Like, I posted this recently after our Norway trip on my TikTok, you know, two lost souls found home with it or found heaven within each other. Two hateful beings created love with one another, or however I worded it. And that is very true. My husband and I, the shadow element of us, why people are intimidated and afraid, especially when you know us in person, our aggressive nature that is demonized. It's justified. If people understood our story and why we become reactive, there is like a justification to it, and we're working actively to be, you know, healed versions of ourselves and not really be in control. Like it talks about surrendering. You have to integrate your shadow. You have to surrender to your shadow. And so there's nothing wrong with being angry. There's nothing wrong with being hateful. It's how you choose to express it and how you choose to let it consume you. And in this moment, when my husband is kind of having this epiphany of like, Jesus fucking Christ, woman, you're the most hateful thing I've ever fucking seen. His disgust of me in that moment was also a reflection of the disgust he had within himself. And then I'm showing him, yeah, I knew that. I clocked that within you like that, buddy, and I still love you, so you should be able to love me. And here's the thing, he did love me. It was a very loving thing for him to call me out in that moment because no one had ever really let me be angry before. My anger was dismissed. It wasn't taken seriously. Oftentimes, people think my thoughts are empty. They think that I'm a weak person because of my sensitivity and the love that I give and the light that I radiate. So they often think that they can take advantage of me because I choose not to seek revenge in the way that they would assume a hateful being would. I choose a higher road most of the time, which includes like not only sometimes it's avoidance, sometimes you just ghost the person, like for cutting ties, that cold Aquarius nature where it's just like you detach. But I was realizing like I can't detach. I have to be willing to confront these things in order for people to take me seriously. And as I'm gaining that strength and that power through the year of the dragon, I'm confronting my husband, but not only my husband, but a man. And there was a lot, again, female rage, feminine rage that came from that, where it's like, I am a woman and I do surrender to you because I love you, but you will not. And I felt like energetically it wasn't just for Chad. It was for just masculinity. Like energetically, it shifted much more than just our dynamic as man and wife. But I feel like what it's leading to as us being leaders by example of how men and women should be dancing and connecting and correlating and infinity symboling with one another. And I feel like that's why, like, I mean, this is my 8th book, right? And then Lionsgate Portal 8/8/2020. It was when we was our anniversary, and then our wedding anniversary is January 8th, 2022. So like there's numerology within it as well. Capricorn, Aquarius, like there's so much dualism within us. He's a Taurus North Node. I'm a Libra North Node. So that's kind of fun as far as like Venus is concerned and all of those aspects. And, some people say, oh, Libra, because air signs are masculine. So Libra is the masculine side of Venus. I disagree. I feel like that's very feminine. I feel like Taurus is deeply masculine, but I can also like see the poles and everything. That my main summary to that without going on too many fucking tangents. But yeah, that piece was really significant. It was humbling to me, and then writing this was humbling to my husband, and it promoted a lot of love and healing and grace within ourselves, for ourselves and for each other, for our marriage, for our family. And it was a way for us to close out a lot of cycles that we were repeating because of our upbringing and societal structuring and all of the above. There's so much wisdom that came from it. And so that piece is significant. Especially, I say in there, a child of wrath, a daughter of war. well, I'm a daughter of Saturn. I've talked about that with I have 6 Saturn placements in my birth chart. You know, any fire sign moon is, stereotyped to be aggressively angry. Leo moon. My husband's like Aries moon. There's so much symbolism, and there's also such a deep suppression of anger in society. And I firmly believe that that's what manifests some of the most horrific, evil expressions of human nature, is because of the repression of anger. So, if anything, I would like people to honor their anger and channel it in a healthy way. In conclusion, but yeah, there's so much. There's 101 poems in this anthology, which I think is really cool. And in Aries season, the spring equinox of 2026, I will have the age of the serpent and my whole 2025 year and all the things that were being shed and released from me. So yeah, so enjoy this book. Like I said, you can subscribe to my blog and you get access to all of my writings, free every PDF book that I've been talking about, on all future books too, if you continue the subscription, or you can buy them individually in the store. If you want a physical copy, I can make a physical copy. But again, for those who haven't listened to the other videos, I'm working on a way to make physical copies a little bit more price friendly and accessible. But until then, if you want a physical copy, please reach out. If you're willing to pay the Canva inflated price that I have to charge, you're more than welcome to. Otherwise, be patient as I find a way to either add value to the cost to make it worth the, $30 to $50, or, cut down the cost and still make it pretty and presentable. I'm figuring it out. But yep, the age of dragon. So I look forward to releasing my next anthology for everybody. That'll be my 3rd one. Just powering away. I don't know what book it will be, like what order it'll be. 19 or 20. I don't know. If I could do it 20, that would be fun. But I don't know. The numbers are the way they are for a reason. And I'm just going to trust whatever inspirational process that happens. But I'm about to be a busy little bee because my 6-week hibernation is over and bulk is among us. And so I gotta get ready for the big boom bloom of spring and then the hustle season of summer in the best way. So I love what I do. I'm excited to get back into it. It was definitely a much needed rest, and I firmly believe that I'm in a state of flow, state of alignment, in a rhythm of waxing and waning in the most Sarah-driven way. So with that, thanks for listening to another series of The Tale Behind the Weird Tales, and I'll see you next time.